Welcome to the Peak Podcast. My name is Kyle Nelson, and I got my good buddy, my good friend, a business partner, my co-host, Mr. Eli Libby.
Nice work, dude. I love it, man.
Happy Friday, man.
Happy Friday. Excited to be here, man.
Yes, the weekend. What do you got going on this weekend, man?
I'm going to do some snowboarding and some mountain biking, probably.
Big surprise.
Yeah.
We are going to a Fill Your Pantry event at the Expo Center.
What's that?
All the big CSAs are there, and you go and get like discounted for like organic foods.
Whoa.
Yes.
Well, that's pretty cool.
Yes. Really excited about it.
What day is that?
It's Saturday.
Oh,
From
nice.
like, it's only a 4-hour block, but you're going to be snowboarding and mountain biking.
Yep.
Anyways, like I said, my name is Kyle Nelson. This is Eli Libby, and we are the founders of Peak Fulfillment. We help people understand self-discovery, self-reflection, vision crafting, intentional living, and so much more through a self-guided 3-day solo retreat where you go and have a boxed experience wherever you find solitude, and we help you through that process with workbooks, journal prompts, and so much more. If you want to learn more about that, go to peakfulfillment.co. Other than that, this is the Peak Podcast, where we talk to other coaches about what that aha moment was in their life. What was that special moment where they felt like, yeah, I'm going to be a coach. I want to make some impact. And today we have a very, very special guest. That is Kelly Poquiz Burke. She's the founder and owner of Career Slay, which is an executive coaching company that helps you go from stuck to unstoppable. They coach and train achievers like you to ditch the self-doubt, overcome those "is this it" career plateaus, and courageously slay the path to becoming the fearless leader you are meant to be. Kelly, welcome to the Peak Podcast.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here, Eli and Kyle.
Yeah. Gosh.
Stoked to have you here.
Stoked to have you here. And just to kind of kick it off, a big reason we had you on the show is because of that first blurb, and then scrolling down into your website,
Yes.
there was something about burnout.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
there's a lot of similarities between our audiences.
Oh, yeah.
The people that go through our program typically have experienced some type of plateau,
Yeah.
burnout in their corporate career or whatever it is, and they don't know what that next step is. So our program works really well with where they are in their life.
Yeah, absolutely.
But how about you kick us off and just give us a little background on who you are before we dive into that other stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. So, the reason why I founded Career Slay was because of my own personal journey. Back in 2020, I was diagnosed with breast cancer while pregnant with my daughter
Wow.
during the pandemic. So it happened like January, February, March, the three kind of major life things all culminating at once.
Wow.
Prior to that, I had grown my career in marketing, had gotten my dream job as being like the Doritos brand manager, and was, just really living like what I thought was the dream. But when the pandemic happened and I got my cancer diagnosis and I was juggling multiple things at the same time, it was really this, it just kind of like my world turned upside down.
Yeah.
And what it made me realize was just how intertwined our personal and our professional lives are, and how the two need to support one another in order for you to really thrive in your life. And so luckily, fast forward, I beat breast cancer. I have a healthy, beautiful daughter. And, when she was 3 years old, I asked her, what can I do to be a better mom? And she looks me in the eyes and says, don't leave us. And what she meant by that was basically I was traveling a lot and really trying to excel and grow in my career. And it was just this moment of like realizing, what are my priorities in life? And am I living my most authentic life? And so I decided to take a leap, and, I left my 9-to-5 job at the end of last year, took a career break, and then launched Career Slay. So Career Slay is an executive coaching company that helps people courageously develop their careers and become the fearless leaders that they were meant to be. So I focus on career coaching, executive coaching, as well as leadership development and trainings. And I'm also a podcast host as well. So I'm the host of the Career Slay podcast, and I interview people who love what they do, ask them how they got there, what they've learned along the way. So I feel like I have gone the journey of like thinking that climbing the corporate ladder was what success was in my, previous definition of success. And then realizing that, after going through burnout, cancer, just really understanding where's my North Star in life, I found myself helping other people get unstuck.
Jeez.
Thank you so much for sharing your journey.
Yeah, really. Thank you.
A lot of the same vernacular we use.
I mean, it's
A lot of
it's
the
really
stuff is-
weird.
Yeah,
It's
we're
almost
always
like talking
telling
into a
us,
mirror.
right?
It's
Literally.
very, very weird.
Well, wow, Kelly, that's awesome. So, as you started Career Slay, what was like the early days of starting it out with, like your offer, figuring out exactly what you're bringing to market? Because obviously, a lot of it had to do with your own personal experience. But I'm sure
Yeah.
that getting things kind of changed, and you were just kind of just feeling guided on how you felt, and kind of started going into the market and testing it.
Yeah. So, Career Slate started out as a podcast. And really, I just wanted to ask people, how do you find a happy career? How do you find a fulfilling career? And I started to be introduced to people who figured it out, who were successful and were happy and like had just that balance of the two worlds. And in my own selfishness, I was just trying to figure it out for myself. So what I did was, when I decided like, hey, this is what I'm going to do as my job, is how do I take those conversations that I'm having in the podcast and turn it into something that, adds real value. And so that's what led me into coaching. So I became an executive coach. I got, my training, and I decided that I was going to help people do one of two things. I was going to help them either find more alignment in their careers, because a lot of us, when we start to experience that tension in our journey, it's because we are not in a path that's aligned with our values anymore, or it's not aligned with our priorities. And the second thing that I was going to do is I was going to help people become better leaders, because maybe you are on the right path, but maybe you're not on a team or in an organization that has strong leadership. And leadership can make or break your experience as an employee. So that is how I felt I could contribute to the world. And that's how I started to package up my offerings.
Geez, that is amazing. So cool. I love to just kind of zooming back to your story. You had said that your aha moment really came from your daughter looking at you saying, please don't leave. I think that aha moment is so cool. In a couple words, how it could change the direction of your life and what you ended up doing. Left the corporate world and started to go after this journey. You mentioned a keyword or a buzzword, saying the word authentic. How would you define your authentic self in your coaching role?
Yeah.
Super impactful.
Yeah. So, authenticity is really, part of my purpose. I have identified for myself that my purpose is to motivate others to live their life authentically. And what I mean by that is that we can find ourselves on a path that was predefined for us. Someone told us that go get an education, go get an MBA, go get a job. And these are all the steps that you need to get to success. And when I was at that crossroads in my own life, I felt super scared of, if I left my 9-to-5 job, this thing that I had wrapped my entire identity around, the title that I had, the salary that I was making, if I left that, then who was I?
Sure.
And what were people going to say about like how I was living my life? And it just made me, think back to when I was battling cancer, how a lot of that stuff didn't matter. And all I wanted was to have more time. And so that's when the pivot for me happened, was, authenticity. How do you define success? For me, it's having the freedom and the flexibility to do what I truly love to do.
Sure.
And so that's how I approach my coaching, especially with my clients, because people get so wrapped up in their day-to-day, and they build these constructs and identities around, things that might have served you before, but no longer need to be who you are if that's not what is important to you.
Totally.
What is one of the biggest limited beliefs that you find a lot of these executive coaches have that's stopping them, that makes them stuck?
It's fear.
Yeah.
100% fear.
Mm.
I think you have to believe in yourself more than you doubt yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I struggle with this every day, even with as much as much as I'm trying to overcome it myself. But um, you know, when you believe in yourself, and
Yeah.
this is the same thing with like battling cancer or going through something that's hard, or you know, just to take a step back, I also like have had to relearn how to walk 3 times.
Yeah.
Um, so I've gone through some like really crazy hard stuff in my life. And what you learn is that when you have a positive belief in yourself and you hope in yourself, you can do anything.
So true.
But a lot of people, and that's so simplistic, a lot of people become afraid of what are other people going to think of me? What happens if I fail? What are the consequences of my actions for my family? And you know, my husband and I were having this conversation the other day because I was starting to get in my own head about, can I do this? And he told me something that has just really stuck in my mind. He said, if you don't do it now, I'm afraid that you're not going to give yourself another chance to do it.
Sure.
And so
Powerful.
that's what I'm deciding to believe in myself more than I doubt myself.
That's amazing. That's amazing, amazing advice to our audience, because they hear us say that all the time. So it's just so cool to hear other people say that. And I think what you've probably realized too, correct me if I'm wrong, but life is too short and you have no idea what tomorrow, and tomorrow's not guaranteed, right? So like to
Yeah.
your point of what your husband said, like if you don't do it today, who knows if you have the opportunity or the chance to do it tomorrow?
Yeah.
And how much regret would you live with
Absolutely.
sitting there on that bed saying, man, I should have done that. That is like the most toxic word. Should have, could have. I hate that word.
Yeah. And just want to jump in and say one thing. And when you talk about fear,
Yeah.
there was, I don't know if it was a mentor of ours or a podcast, someone shared with us fear equals excuses and excuse equals lies. Right. The only reason why we have fears is because it's an excuse for us not to do something and take on. And really, an excuse is just a lie to ourselves. And that really stuck with me. And I love sharing that anytime, we talk about limited beliefs and fears, because it really, it simplifies it. You're just lying to yourself, creating an excuse why you can't do something. And there really is, you just have to believe in yourself, like you're saying.
Yeah, I love that. I'm going to use that on my clients now.
That's what we use a lot, because it's just
awesome.
so powerful.
That is so cool. What is one of the most, I know the space you're in, but is there a moment or something you can pinpoint as when it felt super fulfilling to you, when you felt fulfilled? Is there a client story or some kind of milestone? You're like, man, I feel good after I help them get through.
Yeah. How I know that I'm on the right path, that this is my calling as my career, is because I have those moments more often than not. And everything that I'm doing feels fulfilling. Like, I don't know how to explain it. One of my clients, we were just chatting today, he got a new job. He's in a great place. He's super happy. Another one of my clients is an aspiring Olympian, and she is looking to, while she's training, she's looking for an opportunity, a career opportunity. So it's like, how can I contribute to helping these people fulfill their highest potential? And that is, going back to the principles of overcoming fear, of believing in yourself, of identifying what is it that you truly want in your life, and how do we create a strategy and the steps to get you there. I think one of my most fulfilling moments was I had a client who decided to start her own business, and it was just so beautiful that, like, seeing where she started to where she is now, the confidence level is through the roof, which is incredible. And it makes me taking this risk for myself all worth it.
God, that's so cool. That is amazing. Goosebumps. For sure. That's going to be huge for the audience.
So tell us a little bit more of what's next for Career
Yeah.
Slay. Where's your focus? Is it just helping more people? Do you got other stuff going on? What's the future look like for Career Slay?
Yeah. So I would say that Career Slay is twofold. I'm helping people navigate to the careers that they want to go to, but also I'm helping leaders become better leaders. And so in this next year, I'm really ramping up my leadership development focus and creating programs and trainings to help small companies and small businesses gain better leadership and stronger leadership. And so that's where my head's at as we go into 2025. But also I am, continuing to do the podcast, because that was really the original, start of Career Slay, which was interviewing people who loved what they did. Because again, life is too short to not love what you do for a living.
Couldn't agree more.
Couldn't agree more.
As we kind of wrap things up, we always ask our guests, what is one either actionable item or something inspirational that they can take away with from today?
Yeah. So for me, it would be going back to the theme of fear, is that even if you're afraid, you can still move. Don't get frozen.
That's good.
You can still move through the fear.
Yeah.
And so you don't have to eliminate the fear. You just have to keep moving.
Love it.
Beautiful.
Yeah. And then where can people connect with you, find you if they want to get more information?
Yes. Connect with me at careerslay.com, and all my socials are at careerslay.
Awesome. Kelly, thank you so much for being on the Peak Podcast.
Phenomenal.
We appreciate you. There was so much there that we unpacked.
Thank you.
Minutes. That was awesome.
Oh my God.
Thank you.
We have you back soon.
Beautiful, man. Gosh, that was just,
It was really good.
it was amazing.
That was
It
one
really
where
good. We
someday
were
we got to come out with a longer podcast.
For sure.
That was a
For
very
that
good
reason.
combo, for that
Exactly.
exact reason.
Yeah.
Well, if you want to listen to other amazing guests just like Kelly, make sure to subscribe to the Peak Podcast wherever you listen. And we look really forward to having another conversation in the next Peak Podcast episode.
See you guys.